That's the lesson. As long as you're not hurting anybody, make up stuff. That's if you take anything away, it's make up stuff, you know? Wear that weird hat.
Also,
or like when people say, "Well, if you at a party and somebody say, what do you do?" So you can say anything right there.
Oh, you could.
Don't default into and go to random parties and just make up jobs and just see how long you can keep it up. As long as they're not trying to hire you for that job.
Guys, welcome to BET Talks. I'm Unique. We're here with Hannibal Buress. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And we know you as Hannibal, but you have this new persona, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is, I'm guessing, king of the pickleball courts in Central Park.
Oh yeah, that bio. You know,
that bio's insane.
I just be putting stuff in there sometimes, and I be forgetting that sometimes it gets talked about.
Yeah.
I just be putting in there for a joke, as for like websites for gigs, but a lot of it just be made up.
Cause I was gonna ask how you guys play pickleball.
I've never played pickleball a day in my life. I just told ChatGPT to like write my bio as if I was a legend in pickleball. And then I sent that to whatever gig I had.
I mean, ChatGPT be helping you out with a lot of stuff, but you gotta like double check.
No, it is what it is. No, I did double check. I was like,
it sound good?
That sound good.
But you need a backstory.
I didn't know it we would get here to BET Talks with it.
You need a backstory. This is the second line. Like, yes, pickleball champion. Like, he pulled it together. He's the reason that we have it in Central Park.
I know. You know, it was people were looking for some stuff to do, and they were really bored. You know, and they were just tired of all the other games that were going on. Nobody was really digging anything. People would try other stuff. Lawn bowling, regular tennis. People just start playing tennis and give up. Before they even get there, they just throw the rackets down. It's not doing it for me anymore. So I called a meeting, a brainstorming session. Everybody, let's get together. You know, and I made some adjustments. And what we ended up coming up with was pickleball. Did I know it'd take off? How it's taking off now? No, I was just a guy trying to help people have fun, build community. And when you do things like that and you build with just solid intention, they can grow beyond your wildest belief. Anywhere there's a bunch of young professionals,
they got pickleball.
They got they need activities after work. Just to, you know, forget that they work in politics.
Look at you educating me on pickleball. It wasn't just ChatGPT. There was a reason for that.
You know, you just held me accountable, so I had to just make up more to back up my lie. Now I'm all the way in.
I'll take it. Also, like, you had this song called Veneers, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's giving off rap beef to me.
You said it's giving off rap beef?
Yes. Because, you know, you had Veneers, and like the song comes out years later when we have new Veneers, and everybody's Veneers ain't veneering like they're supposed to be veneering.
Yeah.
So it's giving off like, I'm taking shots. Is that true or not?
No, it wasn't taking shots at all in Veneers. I mean, but sometimes you could be just talking and people
come out?
No, well, people get affected by it, and it, you know, it could be not misdirected, but misinterpreted when you talk. I was talking about myself.
Okay.
And just talking about because it was for some of my songs it's me expanding on ideas I've talked about in my stand-up. So I referenced it before. I said, I got TBT. And then it was another day where I was just, you know, I saw somebody talking about, it was somebody on YouTube talking about how they had hair plugs. And I was like, what do I have that I haven't really talked about? Like, you know, I got veneers. And so then I just, you know, started talking about it and you know, made the beat and worked on it. And I just think it's something. Veneers is a placeholder for whatever people use to kind of.
Do you think
feel
Veneers
better.
are the new BBL?
No, because even though the BBLs.
I mean, they come in all different shapes and sizes.
Yeah, they do. They just, you know, it could get real cartoonish out here. I guess the veneers can kind of get crazy. I seen videos. I got my veneers at a time where I think there was more integrity in the cosmetic dentistry where people do your shit, but it still look legitimate. Where sometimes I think, yeah, they just slapping stuff. They're slapping some crazy stuff in people's mouth, and then charging them $4,000 to say, get up out of here. It'll be something where people can't talk like that. But I didn't make the song making fun of them. But I should use their videos to push it more.
You should.
But we all got our own stuff. Whether it's veneers, clothes, anything, cars, whatever you use to try to feel better about moving through the world, and that's what that is. Anything is a veneer.
Wait, before we get to the latest, because on your project, you have Erin Allen Kane in there. I love her. I love her to death.
Yeah, she's dope.
How did you get her to sign on for that project?
Erin Allen Kane, I've known her for, when did I meet her? 2015, 2016 in Chicago. Seen her, she was doing a lot of stuff with Chance at the time, and had her on my podcast back in the day. And then we were just hanging in LA a lot, and making songs sometime, and yeah, so some stuff she connect with, so I was playing for it. So it was one song, Kept About 3, that she jumped on out in Hawaii, 2020. Yeah, she's just a dope singer. She elevates anything that she brings. She just brings a great energy. She can, she's a singer, arranger, amazing live performer, and just a dope person to have in the studio when you're working on something.
Wait, so you were in Hawaii making this? Like off your Kanye Dark Twisted?
It wasn't the same.
Vibes?
It was just more, this is 2020, so it was more like, let me go to the place with the least COVID.
That makes sense.
Let's go to the place with least COVID. It was actually it was late November 2020 where there was a deadline
to get to Hawaii.
Where they said we stopped letting motherfuckers in after this day. So I had to book I had to book flights for folks right before that day because they were shutting down the travel because they saw that folks was trying to come over there and escape. So that's really what it was. It was just trying to get up out of LA and, go somewhere that's a little more mellow for the time. Yeah, and I was recording out there. It was cool.
So what was that experience like? I know a lot of people like to go out there to record, and I see why. It's like beautiful, it's serene, but like what was that like for you?
Yeah, it's dope to not, have all the city life and chaos and go to the beach easily. It's just one road there. So the driving is nice because you don't have to switch lanes or worry about somebody merging crazy. So it's really dope to drive and listen to music there because you can you listening uninterrupted. You just kind of really driving and the tracks is playing and you got the scenery, the mountains, the beach and everything. So it's a dope place to just think. It's not, it's not that many folks there, so it's not chaotic. Your schedule adjusts to the sun while you're there. Like I would go to bed way earlier naturally and then wake up naturally without alarm just because that's, it's not much going on. So it gets super dark because it's not a lot of light pollution, not big buildings, not a crazy nightlife. So waking up at 6, hearing chickens and stuff, and then going to bed, regular time, 10, 11, and so it kind of get healthier. I was considering living there. I spent a good amount of time there considering it, but it's a little too far off.
So was Versace breakfast and COVID the gateway to where we are now?
I think, Versace breakfast, that was a Freddie song. That was actually from, Versace breakfast was 2012. Or 2011, 2012, when I just did Gibberish Rap. And I was just really hyped off of Gibberish Rap. It was an unfinished song with me just scatting on the track. But I was so hyped about it. And I was like, hey, who want features? I did Gibberish Rap. I was like, who want features? I'm on a roll. And recorded that. And then he sent in that and just did that. It was fun. It was a fun track in there. But I think pandemic in general, just, because work was slowed down, it just really allowed me to think, what do I really want to do? How do I want to spend this time right now? And so just being in the studio felt good at the time. It felt good to just only focus on music and not have the demands of going on set or going to do a comedy show. Like, I'm only doing music, so like, all right, cool. Let's figure out how to keep this going. Because I always was dabbling and doing it, but I wasn't really, I wasn't diving into the process. Gibberish rap was me doing a one-take thing, getting excited about it, putting it out, starting to perform it. And so that was fun, but that's not the real music process of how I work now, or how I've learned to work and how it's growing. So now where it's just, really working on a song and just tweaking it and, doing a bunch of takes if it needs that to get it right, and changing the beat and really sitting with something or testing it in different ways. I'll test my songs by playing video games while I do car tests too, but if I'm playing video game, I play one of my tracks on repeat. If I gotta turn it off, then it's something with, you know what I mean? But if I can leave it rocking and keep my energy up while I'm playing video games, then that means it, it's something to me. So it was cool to just sit in it and work on music and learn. And it's always something to learn and keep progressing.
So I'm intrigued because like you apparently had a battle rap days in college. What was that like?
I did a couple battle raps in college. That was probably 2002, 2003. I was just in my college town actually, Carbondale, Illinois. Carbondale was in the path of totality for the eclipse.
Oh, okay.
So it got full eclipse. So I said, let me go there for the day and just I hadn't been on campus in a minute, and I went there. I actually walked past the site where I had one of the battles. And I was like, damn, that was where the battle was. It was just, I hadn't walked on that campus for probably 20 years. So, and it was no school, so it was clear that day. So it was nice to just walk around. Like, damn, this is where I really was. I was out here. I walked by my old dorm. Like, damn, I used to live by a lake when I was 17. I didn't appreciate this the same way. It was cool because I see it differently now. But the battle rapping at the time, it was just a way to get on stage because I was doing stand-up. And I was hosting this music event, or hosting it. It was an open mic, Sunday sessions that I was hosting. And so the battle rapping was just another way to get on stage because there wasn't that many places to perform. So it was like, I'm not really rapping that much now, but let me battle because it's just really about getting a reaction. And so the first time it went cool because the flow was all right, but you really just got to make the crowd, go off. And so, yeah, I won a couple battles.
Okay.
Yeah, I won a couple battles.
What made you retire though?
It just, I don't even know if it was a retirement. It just wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't something I really wanted to keep on doing like that. I did a couple, it was fun. I was just more focused on stand-up. Even now, I don't think I want to battle. Or even being in roasts. I did the roast of Justin Bieber in 2015. And I haven't done any other roast stuff since then, just because in the preparation of it, you have to be really in a negative state of mind to write. Mm-hmm. Even if it's in fun, it's in jest, but it just felt weird to be 2 months before a roast just thinking like, I gotta think of something mean to say about Martha Stewart. Just at the crib, pacing like, what's Shaq's biggest insecurity? How can I attack that? It just felt, and to hone in on that, just is not how I wanted to work. But I think it's entertaining when people stand toe to toe and really go for it. I'll watch it.
So also, you shot the video for your latest song, I Lift Weights, right?
Yeah.
I see you running through the city in this big suit. And was there any second thoughts before all right, before I go out here and do this?
Weights was it was shot over the course of, we shot some last year in June and July out here in LA, and then some, it was finished in January, February of this year. So it's a course of months of shooting and stuff. So there was some days where, the days where I didn't want to be in the suit, it was just, we didn't do it, you know what I mean? It's sometimes, because it is kind of getting into a character and it's a certain energy. having the special guests and cameos helped bring it, it helped me bring it, be like, get into that. But yeah, it was just, I think costume helps performance, because you're able to, you're like, okay, I'm a different motherfucker. Right
That's
now.
the vibe you're giving in that video.
Yeah, and so it was just, I feel lighter in the suit somehow. Like if I do, like I feel faster or something. It's something about it, like how it's made. When I'm like, it felt crazy, but it was fun to tap into that. And then it was just a fun video to make and cut everything down, and it seemed like it's getting a good response.
I would say it took longer than usual because you had to like get all the cameos, like you had to like work with everyone's schedule.
It took longer than usual because I just kind of, last year I got a burst of energy and started booking everybody and shooting stuff, and then I started touring a little bit, and it just kind of fell by the wayside. And I don't even know if we was gonna finish it. It was just more, because I be starting stuff sometime and then just move on. So it was a point where it was just, I was like, I'm through with that weight song. I have to see it through. Some stuff, yeah. I brought on a new team, swim team, and that's where we got the shots with Aaron and Lana. I think you can probably see the difference in quality in some of the shots, because some of it is run and gun, and we only had 30 minutes with the person. Hey, I got, we can shoot this in 30 minutes, and we just, we weren't setting up lighting, we weren't setting up nothing, and so then the new shots with CP and the new stuff, and me in my apartment, Alana, and Aaron, those were properly shot and lit, and they kind of brought the whole narrative together and elevated. Because if we didn't have those pieces, it would just be me running around. And so thankful to the swim team for coming in and being a dope collaborative partner and adding some structure and helping elevate the whole thing. Yeah.
It's like your new show setup is a mixture of comedy and you performing, right?
Yeah, I've done a combo comedy and music show. I do an hour stand-up, then the band pop out, and then we do about an hour of music, 45.
So like, are people like surprised by it, or like what's it been like the first time you ever did it?
Yeah, it's still a work in progress. I think part of that too is the marketing of it. I think if I had to do it over for last year, I would have presented it properly in the video. Like, this is that, it's comedy, it's music. But I think we were just listing it. And then so people just seeing Hannibal Buress and not really knowing the Eshu Tune. And so then they'd be kind of shocked at the end, the comedy part go in. So it would be, but some people would leave because they were like, we didn't know. Like, people have to be in the mind state for music. It's just, that's what it is, just knowing exactly. Some folks are open to surprises, and some folks, and I've been that person too, as an audience member, like, this is not what I thought it was gonna be. Peace. But so yeah, it was just, but it was a fun show to do, because those shows where I do comedy and then I do music for an hour, those are the first times in my career where afterwards I would really be tired afterwards. I would feel spent, like, damn, I really just did 2 hours out here, and I would feel fully like I used everything I had,
But also congratulations, because you're now you're leasing, I guess you could say the Brooklyn Knitting Factory?
Yeah, I got the spot, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate it.
When are you reopening that?
We targeted June 15th for the opening date, yeah.
So what's the plans for that? Because I know like that's supposed to be like your home base to like test out stuff, right?
Yeah, it'd be my home base I'm excited to just do shows on a regular, really build the music and not have to, I'm not gonna tour. I'll still tour some, but it's gonna quiet down a lot, and I'm gonna be more New York focused, at least for the next couple years. But the opportunity popped up out of nowhere to get this spot. The realtor was, hey man, you wanna get this place? I didn't know it was still available, because the final show, I did the final show at Knitting Factory in August of 2022, and then last year in June, the realtor reached out, hey, you wanna get the spot? I was like, what? It's still available? I just thought, somebody else was moving right in there. And so initially I was a little, no, I didn't have any goals to run a venue in New York at all. It was not part of my plan. It wasn't on the table, but started kind of running numbers, and I'm like, all right, this kind of makes sense and could really build something dope. So, we're still in the early construction redesign and hiring, and it's a lot of tasks. It's a lot of different things, but I'm excited to when we finally open doors and get folks in there. It was cool. There's a place next door to the spot, Bar Madonna, and so I kind of saw their place while they were in construction, and talked with the owners over there when they were still working on it. It was kind of bare bones, and they just opened up a couple weeks ago. I went by there a couple days ago, and so it was dope to walk in, oh man, it's people in there chilling, eating food. It was full of sawdust. It was dusty in here. I had to wear a mask to be in here, and so to see the vision come together and people be in there, it's dope. And just it's motivating too. I'm like, okay, we gotta get going with mine, because then it's gonna be a symbiotic relationship as far as being businesses next to each other. But I'm super hyped just to book folks and build acts, experiment with programming, and be able to do stuff that since I won't have the cost of touring with a lot of stuff, I could experiment with ticket price. I could do stuff at for free, or $5-10 on off nights just to try it out, since we're not dealing with all the other costs of travel. So and I can explore all aspects of performing, from comedy, music, podcasting, screening films, and showcasing different visual artists and performers, and I'm super excited about the club.
AKA June 15th, hit them up if you need a spot.
Yeah, Isola is the name of the club.
Oh, it got some new name too.
Gotta get a new name. They, just for legal reasons.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Speaking of, how did you come up with Eshu Tune?
Eshu Tune is, I looked up, I was trying to come up with a name that kind of just to compartmentalize the music and have it in a separate space as the comedy. I was trying to come up with something. So I had a few ideas, but it wasn't something where I was like, oh, I could see myself, being okay, being called this for 30, 40 years, whatever. And so I was, let me look up African mythology. I just searched African mythology just to see. And then there's a bunch of different gods and figures, and Eshu is the trickster god. So I was just kind of reading the lore behind that and the description, and I just connected with that a lot with I feel like it connects and fits the music.
We gotta do the glasses so we know you're serious about this.
Hey, listen.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, we need to focus. We all need to focus. Hey, y'all need to stop messing with these white women.
What? Okay. Curveball. But any last words before we go?
Last words. Yeah. Hydrate better, Run in place. Gamble more. Freestyle to yourself. Beatbox. Stop riding motorcycles.
Yeah.
Stop the cameras. What do you think about the theory that OJ's son actually did it?
Wait, wasn't he like 5?
They didn't stop the cameras.
They ain't gonna stop it. Who's gonna stop it? Wasn't he like 5?
No.
Yeah, another kid?
Yeah,
I was barely alive,
his
bro.
older son. How old are you?
No. No. Well, on that note, thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you for having me.